Hello and welcome back to the channel. Capsules Hernandez here for another fitting guide, and this time we're moving away from the Alpha Chronicle principle, going back to my main Omega account for a tech level 8 battle cruiser, the Brutix, which is basically one of the most popular battle cruiser that my corp is using for PvE. And so I thought it would be nice to make a little showcase of what the hull can do in actual combat situation. The focus of today's video will be on the brawler mode, because basically, even though you could fit rifled railguns on the ship hull, I think and I believe that the other battle cruiser of the size, like the Harbinger, Hurricane or Drake, would do a better job at it. You will get the better range, and the hull intrinsic capabilities basically point you to a broader build rather than a mid-size or mid-range kiting build, as you would fit with the rifled railgun. So no point in there to do that. To be honest, if I wanted to use the rifled railguns, I would stick to a Ferox most likely and not invest into the Brutix for that purpose, because you would get mostly very similar performance, and I'm not sure that it would necessarily be worth the extra investment in terms of hull just for one more high slot weapon in there. So let's take a look at the ship itself. So this is of course a Galente Federation ship. It's a tech level 8, and as you can see from the trade descriptions, it's received the same rule bonus as all the other tech level 8 and some of the tech level 7 battle cruisers in terms of getting optimal range bonus and accuracy for that. So that's why I was saying that you could fit rifled railguns, you would get a better benefit on the rifled rather than on the subnose, but as I said, better hulls elsewhere to do that job. So pass your way and go to Deuce if that is what you want to fly and how you want to fly your battle cruiser. In terms of weapon damage, fairly standard, so you get a bonus 6% per advanced medium, so 30% maximum. I'm not at that level yet, so I'm still lacking in that direction, and you get a small bonus as well in terms of tracking speed. Also, to be honest, from the battle test that I've run so far, tracking speed is more than okay with the skill level I have and the standard tracking speed of the medium subnode railgun. What point to the main scope of the brawling build is the battle cruiser command bonus, where you get a 7.5% armor repair efficiency increase, so that's 37.5 in total, and that is why I'm really showcasing this as a brawler build, because if you want to take that bonus into consideration and make most out of it, well, you need to repair damage, and range guiding you take little to no damage, so basically that bonuses would be quite useless in a ranged build. And so that's why today we will be looking more at the brawler side of things. Regarding the other attributes of the ship, so it has a fairly decent power grid, a bit about 1 gigawatt, 1 drone slot, 7 high slots, 3 mid, 5 lows, and 3 of each of the internal. That is fairly standard for all of the tech level 8 battle cruiser. You will get the same design and layout. Defense wise, well, this is a Galente ship, so you see that the distribution stands more in terms of armor and structure. Shield is a bit lower, you get about 1.5k less in terms of shield, but being a Galente, what you can notice as well is that we get an extra bonus in terms of kinetic resistance. Shield is up to 46%, and the armor resistance is as 36% for kinetic resistance as well. In terms of capacitor, you get a fairly decent 3.1 gigajoule. So it is possible to run a cap stable build, and you will see that this is what I achieved with some tricks in my sleeves. Scan resolution is a bit on the low end, 222 meter. This being a battle cruiser, this is natural, so that's why I tend to strengthen that with internal rigs, just to make sure that I can lock faster. And for a brawler build, of course, this is really essential that you can lock on target as fast as possible so that you can follow up on the kills. Flight velocity is a bit low. This is a battle cruiser, not a frigate, so you're not gonna speed tanking any day with those. You see that you have a base velocity of 180 meters per second, which of course can be improved with low slot afterburner or micro warp drive, but we'll see what we can do with it. So that's it basically for the ship in itself. If we go back to the skill levels and the skill that would be important for that ship, so of course everything that goes with battle cruiser, so battle cruiser command, you have seen that gives you the bonus on your armor repair, the advanced battle cruiser command, because that will give you additional speed and make the ship inertia modifier a bit better, so making the ship a bit more nimble. And when I say a bit more nimble, it won't go into being and behaving like a frigate, but it helps a bit in the being an armor tank. So armor operation, advanced armor operation will be very useful as well. So armor operation will give you a reduction in activation time, so your repair will work faster and they will use less cap. Whereas when you move with the advanced version, you also reduce the power gate requirement that you need for them as well. So this is a bit nicer, and I don't have any skills in expert. I'm using as well armor hardening, because we will strengthen the armor in there, and so you get the same principle here. You get activation time reduction, you get a bonus to the overall time it stays active, and you reduce the capacitor need for your hardeners. And so this is really interesting as well to have. Defense wise, of course, battle cruiser defense and defense upgrade will be fairly useful. That will just intrinsically increase the amount of shield, armor and internals that you will have. So the more the merrier, and this is fairly important. In terms of engineering, and this is where I'm quite lacking a bit. So you see I'm only 4-4 in battlecruiser engineering, and you will see why I say it's a very important one, because I think the builds can be significantly improved if I was to move a bit further down the line into battlecruiser engineering. So at the moment I'm 4-4, means that I have a bit more capacitor, a bit more power grid, and that is what I want to max out, is really my power grids, because I think that I can, if I had a bit more, I could change the internal layout and do something a bit different. So indeed I will need to push to level 5, because in terms of power grid this is nearly a 10% increase from the level 4, and the same for the advanced. I'm at level 4, so if I go to level 5 that will be another 5%, so in total a 15% increase in my power grids. Now what I most likely will need is the expert level, because at expert level I will basically reduce as well the turret power grids, and as I have 7, so the impact will be quite significant in terms of reducing my overall usage of the power grid. So most likely I will need to unlock the expert battlecruiser engineering just to reduce the overall load on the grid to fit a different setup and a different layout. But that's gonna take a bit of time, because the level 5 training I think is quite significant. Yes, nearly 1.9 million skill point, so that's gonna take me over 10 days to train. So that are the main skills for the hull. So for the weapon systems, of course, you are going to look at the railgun operation. As you can see, I'm a bit weak in that aspect. I'm not really a railgun user, so I'm only 4-3 in the railgun operation and 4-3 in the upgrade section. You have seen that the upgrade section gives me an additional a bonus to my DPS output, and that's why I'm training the advanced upgrade to level 4 and then to level 5, so I can max out the intrinsic health bonuses. Because to be honest, the skill themselves will not provide much in terms of overall DPS performance. It will be mainly from the hull and the rigs. So that's it for the main skills. So let's move now to the fittings. So as you can see here, I'm looking at a base DPS of 700. I was a bit disappointed, to be honest, with that kind of performance. But you're looking at some other video on the web and YouTube about the Brutix. They were showcasing DPS around 1k. Of course, this was on the test server with all skill maxed out. So I consider myself being sort of at 70% of the optimal performance of the ship, which is in essence not so bad. This is this is a ship which is not on the test server. This is something I build and use with my own skill and my own money. So this is not so bad, but I was expecting to be able to reach at least 750, if not close to 800 cold DPS, and I think I can do that actually. So I will continue to work on the actual build and try to streamline a bit, because for encounter running, I think that at this level of performance, it would be very efficient in terms of ISK per hour return. So high slot, of course, I've got 4 C-types, sub-nose railguns. They are fairly cheap, 3 million a piece. So you're looking at a 21 million investment for the best weapon that you can get. So that is very good. Being railguns, it's only thermal and kinetic damage that you can that you get. And as you can see here, optimal range around 5 kilometers and my accuracy fail-off of 6, so I will orbit at around 5 to 6 kilometers. Striking speed is 76. As I said before, this is highly sufficient to target and kill those pesky frigates and destroyers that would be orbiting around you. I never had any issues whatsoever, so I didn't need any extras to get them down during encounters. On the mid slot, this is where the discussion can happen a bit. So at the moment I'm running 3 Nosferatus. They are Mark 7 medium energy Nosferatus, because that's the best I have, and I'm not gonna invest into officer grades, because basically I'm pretty sure that this hull with additional engineering and a dedicated rig, I can fit a large Nosferatu, meaning that I can release the 3 medium slot with a single and have space then for other modules in the medium, like webifiers, scramblers, or whatever else I would fancy. Not that I felt the need to have something else, but it would release the option and give more flexibility. Webifier and scrambler can be effective if I in the end encounter some really fast frigates, and that would basically outpace the targeting speed of my main weapons. So this is why 3 Nosferatu, this is what is making my build cap stable. If I remove one, I'm no longer cap stable, so I really need to push out the bits on the large Nosferatu would give me a better output on the power grid, sorry, not on the power grid, but on the capacitor management, and so it will be better than the 3 cumulated medium. On the drone side, so at the moment I'm running a hammerhead, so with thermal, just because I didn't have any MK7 with EM damage left, so I did prefer to go for a hammerhead. The other option that I had was Vespa, but that would not synergize with my current weapon loadout, so that's why I would have rather have the EM damage to be more active on the shield part of my enemies and rats. The hammerhead is okay. You will be anyway in drone range because you will be fighting and orbiting at 5 to 6 kilometers, as I said, so it will add up not a lot, like 30 DPS to the overall, but that's a bit more taken in there. For the low slot, so as you can see, I'm running dual armor repair. Those are C types, and look at what I can get out of it. We're looking at 900, nearly 950 damage healed per cycle, and the activation cycle is a bit under 6 seconds. So every 6 seconds I will be nearly getting back 1.9, a bit above 1.92k armor, and this is where that ship shines. So it's the cumulative bonus of both my internals and the intrinsic health bonuses, and with that you can hot heal most of the damage you will get from encounters. In tier 8, 1 is sufficient, so potentially you could have some flexibility there. For tier 9, sometimes I'm a bit overwhelmed, and the 2 repairers really help to get back into shape. What I've seen, and some of my corp mates are running, is that they remove one of the type C repairer and put another hardener, which is the other module that I'm running, just to increase the overall armor performance. That's kind of a discussion to be had, whether it is more efficient to actually improve your intrinsic armor resistance and then have less need for healing, or you do prefer to fully engage with the hull bonus and maybe take a bit more damage, but being able to outpace it through the 2 repairers. I'm not sure which is the best options, to be honest. It would require extensive number crunching, but at the moment this is what I'm going for. Of course, you have a basic magnetic field stabilizer for additional DPS, and an afterburner for the actual speed and range closing. You will see in the battle demonstration at the end of the video. Previously I was running a micro warp drive. It works as well. You have the power grid to do it. It doesn't compromise your cap stability in any sense. The only issue I had is that in 2 or 3 encounters, not on this ship but on my Myrmidon, basically I was scrambled, and so the micro warp drive was completely useless, and I struggled a bit to get in range of my target on the base speed of the Brutix. So that's why I do prefer to have the afterburner in. I think it will be a bit better on the long run, because anyway you don't need the extra speed for the loot mop-up as you would have on a prophecy, where you need to close like 90 or 100 kilometers to get to your loot. Here you loot as you kill, because you are directly into loot range. So afterburner, I think overall would be a best. If we look now at the internal, so this is where I think again I will have some adjustment going, just to optimize a bit more. So at the moment I'm running a nanobot accelerator, so I'm reducing the cycle time of my armor repair now, being cap stable and being able to run 2 at the same time. Most likely I'm going to replace this one with another DPS boost, so getting the railgun cycle time a bit faster. The second one that I have, of course, is the nanopump. Nanopump just increase a bit further the armor repair bonus just to make me achieve like the 950 that you have seen on the previous screen. And the last one is railgun collision accelerators, so a flat 15% damage bonus, sorry. I went for this one because it doesn't use any cap, so if you go for the increase or the decrease in cycle time, most likely you will get a bit more DPS, but it will run on your capacitor as the weapon will be firing at a faster pace. So that's why I do prefer, when I'm running that kind of build, to lower slightly the damage output, but I don't think this is a very significant drop, but it is more easy on the cap management. On the engineering rig, so I have a semiconductor memory cell just to improve capacitor management and be able to be cap stable as well, and I have something for targeting faster, so the targeting system subcontroller too, so that I can lock my target a bit faster. You can see that I have a third one which is still empty, and this is where I basically gonna put an internal for increasing my power grids. The size of it will be depending on how far I go into the battle cruiser engineering, so that's why it's still empty, but that is what I want to do. So the adjustment that will come to this build is really moving from 3 medium to a high NOS and fitting something else in addition into the mid slot, and removing the Nalbot accelerator and putting an additional DPS mod in there for increased DPS, and as I said, move up to my target range, sweet range, in between 750 to 800 cold DPS on the build. So I need to work on my skill, both for the railguns and the battlecruiser engineering, and tweak a bit the internal rigging so that I can be there. And why do I want to do that? Because as a conclusion, you see that basically the ship is good, and it's a fairly performant ship for running tier 8, tier 9 encounters. You can do it in the tier 9. I think I'm at about 25 minutes, but the Myrmidon, which is one of my brawlers as well, actually does it a bit faster, and that's a debate that is still ongoing with my corp mate. They asked me to do a 101 comparison Brutix versus the Myrmidon. My Myrmidon is running at 660 DPS, so 40-50 DPS lower than the Brutix, but it seems to be handling the encounters a bit faster. So last time I was more in the 20 minutes for a tier 9 encounters, the Brutix being more on the 25, but I need to confirm. This might be a bit lucky, so I will do some 101 comparison, running the exact same encounters for both ships and having the frontal comparison going. As you can see, due to my skill, the defense is a bit better than what I've showcased in the initial intro, and the armor is more about 10k compared to the initial values. The resistance will go up as well. With the hardener in place, I'm nearly 50-60 depending for EM, thermal and kinetic, the lowest being the explosive, where I stay in the 30ish range. So be careful on cannons and missile potentially, because there you will suffer a bit more damage, and this is where additional either resistance or hyper capability will be good. Capacitor, so I'm capacitor stable, but be aware this is due to the Nosferatu, so if you don't run the Nos, you will not be cap stable and you will lose a bit. So that's why in the initial part usually you lose a bit of capacitor, but you should be able to stay globally in the fight with 60 to 70% of capacitor. Targeting wise, you've seen that I have now a scan resolution of 320 compared to the 220 I had, so that's very very good, and that's the combination of the skills and the rigs. And as regard the base speeds, increase from 180 to 230, so that's good. And with the afterburner I'm even more speedy in terms of base speed, so I have like 240-50 as a base speed, and when active I do climb out to 480, which is quite decent to close the gap with your opponents. So that concludes basically the presentation of the ship. You will now see the combat demonstration, and you will see that the ship had absolutely no issue handling the TN9 encounters that I pushed it. It was a 5 million encounters, and it took me like 25 minutes to actually do the encounters. I didn't take the time to loot, but basically when you're doing that, you loot as you kill, so you don't need to consider an additional time for the mop-up and cleanup after. So please feel free to comment if you have suggestions on how to improve the builds or the video quality. Leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to my channel if you want to be notified of more contents to come. And with that, fly safe until the next video.